What's up? Welcome back to GAMERViCE, ladies and gentlemen. We are coming back at you with the regular video. We are not live today, so as of the time of this recording, it is July 10th, Monday. Okay. Anyways, information, we got it for you. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm ready to get talking about all this gaming news. There's a lot of stuff, actually. I'm surprised.
I mean, yeah, there's some stuff because I feel like the last couple of weeks we really haven't had anything to talk about. But one that I'm going to start off with here is one that I like, and that is Valorant, which I know Kevin here will make fun of me because that's what I play, and he used to make fun of me. I play it a lot. But since Diablo came out, I haven't played. But Kevin, guess what I have to tell you?
Go ahead. What is it?
I just played 5 matches today before we recorded. I was playing with the boy Doc, and we was getting after it. So I'm back, baby, until Season 1 of Diablo. But Tencent Games has stopped developing Valorant Mobile. So for those of you who didn't know, Valorant Mobile was being developed by Tencent Games, who, you know, makes a lot of phone video games for these bigger AAA games that kind of, or I don't know if this is a AAA game, right? But these bigger companies that make games on console, they get Tencent Games to kind of help develop the mobile versions of. But that is no longer the case. Riot Games has took over their own Valorant Mobile and started developing it from scratch, though. For those of you mobile people out there, mobile gamers who wanted to get your hands on Valorant, though, it sounds like you might have to wait a little longer if they're doing it from scratch. But I guess it'll resemble more of what Valorant really is, considering now it's Riot doing Riot's game.
Yeah.
And if you missed the news from maybe a couple weeks ago that kind of happened, is that this is being made by Riot LA, who's making the console version, and console gamers want a piece of the Valorant pie. What do you think of that, Kevin?
I think as long as they do it right, listen, there are going to be a lot of people, a lot of PC gamers who are going to be pissed because that they're bringing consoles into this competitive, first-person tactical game. And you know how people are with, mouse and keyboard, controller, aim assist. It's all of that's going to be talked about. So,
you know what? Is the argument really controller and mouse and keyboard, or is the argument aim assist? That's what I was going to get at right there, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it just aim assist, or are people actually mad about the other? Like, I mean, I don't know how you can actually be mad about mouse and keyboard though, as a controller player. Like, because obviously we really are, again, I guess the elephant in the room is aim assist. So I guess it's really only goes the keyboard and mouse and keyboard players really get mad about the controller because aim assist is handed to so many shooters.
Yeah.
Now, like you talk about making it work, and if they do it right, I guess, all right, they make Valorant for console. The argument's going to be like, what is ranked now? Do you make 2 separate ranked modes? Kind of like that way it's like there's no real complaints. Because I think the competitive aspect of it, at least the esport, I think it's them trying to give it to console players and getting even more gamers involved because they want it, right? I don't think it has any room to be an esport for a controller console. It could be a game and it can have rank mode, but I do think exactly it should be Overwatch style, like either do rank controller only, rank controller keyboard, and you know you're getting into that, or you do ranked mouse and keyboard, like 3 different like separate them, because I feel like it's just gonna bring up too much turmoil in the gaming community. We're gonna see Twitter blow up when this game drops, and what they tell us, or they might keep it completely separate. But then people are gonna complain about that, like I can't play with my friend on PC. I got the game. It's like, damn, you didn't have the game. At least you got it now. But I don't know.
I feel like the people who complain, tough. Like if you're gonna make it ranked, I feel like they should make it mouse and keyboard separate from controller. I feel like that's the only thing that makes sense if you're gonna have rank, especially if you're gonna have like league tournaments or whatever.
Yeah,
I feel like they have to separate it because let me tell you, if I actually play the game, which I don't.
Yeah.
If I took all that time to rank myself up with mouse and keyboard where there's no aim assist at all, and then these schmucks come over with their consoles and their aim assist, I'd be so pissed. I'd be like, I don't know. To me, I'd be a little mad because you know
Yeah.
that they're getting help.
And especially at this rate, like so much later in the game, like you know it's gonna bring. It's not like the game dropped console and PC at the same time, and like they've been dealing is like deal with it. So yeah, it'll definitely stir the pot. But like it does always make me wonder though, like the esport or the league, I guess, for Apex, because I don't know the exact details, but isn't it Apex does you have to have one controller player and like one mouse and keyboard. I know it's 3 players. I forget if it's
Yeah.
2 to 1. I don't know which ratio it is, but it's like you have to have one or the other. But it's also like, why? Like I feel like that's such a like to me where clearly when you're talking about now money and things like that, like aim assist is a clear thing, and you're talking to somebody. I am a controller player. I just play Valorant. Any other game, I play on a controller. Okay,
Yeah.
so I am not a fan of the other one or the other sides. People be hating over here, man. I'm just simply stating the fact. Clearly, aim assist is assisting.
Yeah.
So
that's
how
a
is
thing.
that like? How can then like obviously, I get the fair standpoint of hey, well the other team has the same amount like one controller player and 2 mouse and keyboard players, so it's fair. But is it fair? Because what happens when that one dies, or I'm only going up against the one that has the aim? Like that's the problem. So I don't know how Apex does it. I don't know how that pro league or whatever it is Apex has going on is. But yeah, it's just very curious. Like that's just an example of a company that says, "Hey, we don't care," and they use both. So
Right. I also
yeah,
think it's a little. Just to bring up this point before we move on, because like it's very strange to me that they're not using Tencent, because Tencent actually makes PUBG Mobile, they make Call of Duty Mobile, they make League of Legends. There's a League of Legends mobile game that they do. They do Pokemon Unite. Um, they make all these games, so I feel like they'd be most suited to make it. I'm curious if we'll ever find out why they decided not to go with Tencent, and now they're doing it in house.
yeah. Maybe it's just this console thing, and they're just like, yeah. I don't know what that entails, cost, things like that. But that is your Valorant news for the day. Okay, Kevin, where are you leading us next? What is the hot topic here?
You know what? I want to bring up this new Black Panther game that was just
Okay.
was it
Okay.
announced? Yeah, it was announced by EA's new studio. They have a new studio. I think it's called like Cliffhanger Studio.
Cliffhanger Games. Yep, a new
Cliffhanger
triple
Games.
A development studio based
Yeah.
in Seattle.
There you go. US of A. And they are making a third-person single-player Black Panther game. I think they're calling it Wakanda. I don't know if people caught that, but in their little review in Marvel's press release of it,
Yeah.
they say, I'll read it and I'll quote. It says, "We're dedicated to delivering fans a definitive and authentic Black Panther experience, giving them more agency and control over their narrative than they have ever experienced in a story-driven game. Wakanda is a rich superhero sandbox, and our mission is to develop an epic world for players who love Black Panther and want to explore the world of Wakanda as much as we do." So there's a lot of interesting sandbox. It's going to be interesting to see how they do that. Also, I don't know whether they meant to do that or not, but it's maybe being called Wakanda. Does Black Panther have enough story to have a serious AAA game? Like that's my biggest concern.
Yeah.
No, like people really don't know Black Panther other than the 2 movies. And like if you're like a casual person like I am, like I didn't read the comic books. I don't know if you did, but I didn't read the comic books. There's gonna be maybe some reference to the movies, but again, unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman, he passed away. So in the second movie, he's not even the Black Panther anymore. It's someone else. I'll just say someone else in case for some reason people have not seen that movie by now. But yeah, it's just weird. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they bring, who the who the villains are, because again, they only had technically two in the movies because of everything that happened. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this game? I'm skeptical, but I'm optimistic, but I'm very skeptical.
Yeah. I guess that's a good way to put it. I'd have to agree with you. I do think, yeah, like the Black Panther thing, though, I guess is like it's like a mantle kind of thing. How it's like the way they're going with it now. It's like it's not just T'Challa, but it's like I feel like us comic book is like, yeah, T'Challa is the Black Panther,
Right,
but it's
right, right.
almost like anybody can be Black Panther. It can be passed down through the whole ritual. So I also don't know, like they haven't mentioned enough. Do they go the route of like an original story? Because then there
Mm.
you go. Like, does it matter how much black? Like, obviously you have your baseline of Wakanda and then like vibranium that obviously you use, but you just make your original story and then but you better have some good writers and some like really cool. But I
That's
guess
a good
if you
point.
go an original story, I mean, I guess kind of use same villains or do they introduce a new villain? But I mean, I feel like you still can use a villain, but it would just be a different story. I guess that's one way to look at it and how it can go. But ever since my Marvel Avenger game just did not survive, man. It seems like just taking all these characters and everyone just making single player games from each characters or all these characters we have in the Marvel universe seems to be the better route and how they succeed more. As much as we would love a multiplayer and even like an MMO that was announced and then later scrapped. So I don't know, man.
Okay,
We just
so
want multiplayer, I guess.
so reading a little bit more into this, they say to ensure that we craft every aspect of Wakanda, its technology, its heroes, and our own original story with the attention to detail and authenticity than the world of Black Panther deserves. So it sounds like it's going to be an original story, to your point, which does open it up a bit more. But again, then you kind of feel like the disconnect. I feel like that's kind of what happened with Marvel's Avengers. Like it was a cool story, but also there was a disconnect because you're playing a game that you've never connected to that story before. I don't know. That
Yeah.
was my opinion,
No,
anyways.
well, I actually think the story was like the one good thing they had, but it was also like short, and then that's when people like did not enjoy the end game. At least that's the viewpoint I had. It wasn't an original story. It was weird, but like it was actually pretty good. Like I was curious what was happening. It was a good story, but it was also so short, and it's just like okay, and now you're playing the game and leveling your characters, but the end game and the loop, the gameplay loop, and I guess the loot aspect of it, things weren't as fun, or longevity of the game just was not there. But
You know what's really funny about
it's
that?
sad to see happen.
I think most recently, I think in possibly the Steam sale that's going on or just happened, I think they had Marvel's Avengers on sale for like $5. And I
Yeah.
was like, you assholes. Now you put it on sale for $5 when
Yeah.
there's no more of a service anymore. Like, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
Just so you could just experience the single player and that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that is messed up. That is actually
Why would you
wild.
do that?
That is wild. Now, moving on, EA just seems to be. This is I guess like a EA episode now. UFC 5. Okay, and if those of you that don't watch, apparently this UFC card this past Saturday was phenomenal. I was at a wedding, so I did not get to see it. But apparently, I seen some clips, man. We had some good fights. The main card was legit. But I guess it has been a couple years since they dropped UFC 4. It does have its little fan base that enjoys the game. But my thing is, they announced an announcement. All they did is say, hey, UFC 5 coming. Get ready for the full reveal in September. Like, I know what they're doing. They're building hype. They're bored. They need, but like, money needs to go. Who knows if it's investor, like, but it is so obnoxious, man. It's an ugly world of advertisement that we live in right now. And I can't stand it, okay? Because, cool, you're dropping UFC 5. You gave us nothing, though. Literally, other than, hey, we're dropping UFC 5.
Yeah.
Like, then just wait to the full reveal that's in September. Like, I would have been okay with that being the announcement. Okay,
Yeah,
but I don't know. What are your thoughts?
you're right. It's the same. It's kind of like when Apple is like, all right, the new iPhones. We're gonna talk about the new iPhone in September.
Yeah.
But they say the shit back in May though. You're like, okay, no, like the only thing that's different about
what's
this
even
is
worse
that,
with that one,
yeah,
exactly. What's even worse with that one is an iPhone's coming. So it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
thanks for telling us the date about what you're doing. That's what you're gonna see. Yeah,
yeah,
unreal.
yeah. This one, okay. They haven't made a UFC game in about 3 years, so that kind of makes sense. I will say the first and second UFC games from EA they dropped in February and March.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why UFC 4 dropped in August, I think it was because of COVID,
Okay.
because it was August of 2020. So I'm going to assume, even though they're going to announce it, I wouldn't be surprised if they said March 2024.
Yeah. It sounds like they clearly been working on it, or they should have. Because if you're telling me 2025 or something when you do your full reveal, like, or you know what the problem is, they'll do the full reveal and it's gonna say early 2024. We all know what that means. It's gonna get pushed back, and the earliest we will see it will be late 2024, early 2020. I honestly don't know the last game. A game like said like from a game coming out in a year and didn't give an exact date. The last time we didn't see, hey, 5 months later, ooh, here's a statement. We decided that the development has been pushed back and the game will now be delayed. It's just what you do nowadays, apparently, as developers. I don't know. But this, yeah,
I was gonna say, I was just gonna say, also, just to piggyback off of that, I don't remember the last time they were like the first half of 2022, and the first half wasn't like June.
yeah,
Like it's always the end of the first half. It's always like the last
Yeah.
like month.
Somebody
It's never
did that
like
recently
it's never
with
like
something
the end of
too.
January. Yeah.
That's almost like now. Oh, animal party. If we're gonna party animals, I don't even want to talk about. They almost did something like that. They've already pushed it back, but now they're like, oh, it'll be here by like this, and it was like they picked the latest day possible. Yeah. Thanks, guys. That's not what we want. But to go off of this UFC, we haven't got a UFC in a couple of years, as you said, like before COVID,
Yeah.
and it has to do with fighting. The people want to know where Fight Night is. And this, I guess, is what I'm trying to say is like, if they went this long without making a UFC 5, and now they are announcing a UFC 5, I just have to believe there is no Fight Night in the near future. But that also then leads me to Undisputed, which you, my friend Kevin, have the pleasure of owning and trying out. What are your thoughts on that game for those people who want to see a fight night, who want a boxing game, but you kind of need a PC at the moment if you want to try this because it's locked behind Steam and PC?
I'm gonna say, if you are a diehard boxing fan, you may get some enjoyment out of this boxing game, Undisputed. But it is so unpolished at the moment, where punches don't feel weighted. They don't feel like you're throwing power punches like in Fight Night. You actually felt that.
Boof.
Yeah. They're slowly getting improvements. They're slowly adding to a roster. I will give them that. I think they are now up to like somewhere around like 30 or 40 fighters, and it's only going to continue because there's others that they said that they were going to put into the game that they haven't yet. So that's cool. There's a career mode that they haven't added yet. So when that unlocks, maybe that'll add some aspect of it that you missed from like Fight Night, being able to build your own boxer and like train him and build him up through the ranks and stuff. That sounds cool, but until then, this game is I think they priced it at $30. I want to say it's $30, or it's either 30 or 40.
That was my next question, and I forget if they are advertised as such. Is this early access technically?
It is early access.
So I guess they're okay. They safeguarded themselves with the early access name.
Yeah.
So you guys are helping them make the game. And essentially, I mean, for most games that even they've lasted, I know games now that like, they do technically take their time. Some games have been in early access for 2 years, but they actually do end up changing and dropping, you kind of get a deal if you buy it now. I mean, granted, you now are paying for an unpolished game, but maybe you're helping with development costs. You're doing this, and you help them make the game. You have a taste of it, and when it drops, it technically does become more expensive. So you already get your hands on it. So not too bad for those boxing fans out there. And last but not least, EA Sports. It's in the game. Oh my God, I remember when that used to mean something. Okay. Because Madden is ass now. But anyways, we're not here to talk about Madden. We will in the future. It's coming up. I can already tell because we are in the summer here. EA FC 24. You heard that right, ladies and gentlemen. FC. Now, EA's biggest sport game, I would assume, because it's also the biggest international sports league in the world, right? Soccer is no longer called FIFA, okay? Football, soccer, whatever the viewers out there are calling it, right? No FIFA tied to the EA soccer game anymore.
Yep.
So, apparently, what this means is there's more freedom for EA to do more with the game. I guess because being in a partnership with FIFA, it stops them from doing business decisions that they possibly could have wanted to add to the game unless it is approved by FIFA, okay? The big thing for some people who don't know, because like I feel like it's almost like if it's not the same, because FIFA is like the soccer corporation, but they're technically not the soccer league, okay? There's the Premier League, all that stuff. The La Liga, UEFA, all that is like that international soccer league, and technically like the MLS, right? That is not FIFA. FIFA runs the World Cup, so you won't see no World Cup going on, I'm sure. But rest assured, you won't have to create all your own teams. EA says that the Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga, UEFA are already signed up for EA Sports FC 24. And if you guys haven't seen the little trailer drops that just happened, I think a couple hours ago as of this recording, your top Premier League teams and players are in it. Unlike if Madden, in this case, Madden being, I guess I should say, the NFL taking away and losing its licensing from EA, you wouldn't have NFL teams. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have the NFL players per se unless you made a deal with the players, but you wouldn't have the NFL teams or using those logos. That's why we no longer got NFL 2K5 after that one with TO on the front. And now, though, they made this new NFL has an agreement with 2K, but they can only make an arcade football game, right? So you're not losing your players, but apparently it can let EA do more things. But I don't know if that's a good thing, Kevin. You tell me.
I mean, they wanted to do it so that they had more freedom, like you said. They want to do esport leagues, and I guess FIFA wasn't going to allow them to do that type of stuff. So in that sense, I'm cool with it. I know that they're trying to do stuff with NFTs, which is
that's the problem. Ultimate Team can get even uglier. I guess not. Go ahead.
Yeah, NFTs are in games so far. I have not heard of an NFT sounding like it's worth it. In my mind, the only thing, the game that pops up in my mind, and it's not even like that popular of a game, but it's the Doc's Dead Drop with those NFTs that he had people purchase for I forget how much it was, $50 it was.
Yeah, well, there was only 10,000, and you had to have the option to it was basically still it was $50, but you had to be selected to buy.
Yeah, you had to get drawn, or like you said, selected to buy, and then I think it was $50. And what did that get you? That got you. Yeah, and what did I get? They got you a unique card, was it? It's like a unique profile.
You have the unique visor. That's what the visor cortex, those what your character looks like, and now that's part of what they're going to put in the game. So it's like an item, I guess, and then you're part of the first 10,000. You're part of basically the alpha, but you're part of the development process because the game has been in development. They actually got big news, I think, coming in a couple days. Maybe we talk about that in the next episode, Midnight Society. I know Doc threw something out. The next snapshot, I think it might be 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But yeah, even on the last snapshot, maybe I don't know if development was hurting for some money. Like again, the NFT they need to make. I mean, God forbid. I just feel like this will hurt his name bad if this is going to be one of these NFT scams. But it's at the point where I don't think like for him to have such a big name, like he's literally going to throw everything out the window, and then getting other big time developers, and now he just created a AAA. Like I don't think it's a scam, but they have to do it right. They're taking their precautions. But what I was going to say is like on the last snapshot 5, then they went and said, "Oh, we kind of need more people. Here's like this. You have a chance to buy this to get access to all of our, add more players into the pool of players. Remember, it was like $20 to get access. Another thing that you can get, but you weren't you're going to have your own unique Visor Cortex, like that first 10,000. But it was just another like pay grab. Like, who knows?
Yeah, but I don't think the game is a scam. But yeah. I honestly just think it was his clever way of trying to say you're buying into early access. I think that's all it was, and that's my point. It's not even like that unique of a thing. If instead of this whole NFT bullshit, it was just like, all right, for $50 you get a unique visor and early access. Yeah. If he had just said it like that, it's the exact same thing in my mind.
Yeah. No, and to be fair to him too, apparently it states on the website you don't have to even do a single thing to have to do with the NFT to play the game.
Right.
You just won't be collecting, like your stuff won't be yours, because the whole idea of NFT is like you technically own stuff in your wallet. You know what I mean? So you could just play it as a regular game. But yeah, where's that gonna lead? NFTs, Ultimate Team is how we got here, right? With the new, not FIFA, I guess EA soccer game or EA football game, FC. Yeah, man. Let us know in the comments if you're excited about what EA's doing here. You got Black Panther, you got UFC, and you got this new FC game, soccer game, football game. What do you guys like? What do you guys not like? Valorant, aim assist. Are you about it? Are you not about it? There's so much, man. Drop a comment. Let us know, people. We need to hear from you.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know who out of those EA fans out there, which of these games are they most excited to play? Because those are 3 completely different types of games.
Yeah.
People who play FIFA, or rather, people who are going to play the soccer game, most likely are not the exact clientele to play the Black Panther game, and they're probably similar, but it's a sport, so maybe they'll play the UFC game. So it'll be interesting to see.
I do think it's 3 different gamers.
But it's definitely 3 different gamers. Yeah, I think so.
But funny you say that. It's almost funny though. FIFA, like you just kind of slipped up. It's gonna be so hard. People are going to call it FIFA.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
if I'm being honest, it's gonna be called FIFA. Like in people's eyes, like FIFA, it's like they're not part of it no more. But people are like, yeah, you get FIFA 24, like EA FC 24. Who got FC 24? It's going to take a year or 2 to catch on. I guarantee you FIFA 24, especially because FIFA, though, also, like, because there's that Pro Evolution Soccer that existed and all that stuff. FIFA's finding another developer to make a FIFA game still. Mm-hmm. So whether now those Pro Evolution Soccer is going to take them up on that or anything like that, who knows? But then that's when it'll be funny or weird, like, hey, FIFA. And it's like, no, I don't mean that FIFA. I mean EA's FIFA. Man, there is one little thing, Kevin, that we're still waiting on before we end this episode, though. So, I mean, there's not really much to talk about.
Yeah, we're still waiting on it.
You tell me. What is it that we're talking about?
Well, unfortunately, for people who are waiting for this FTC ruling about Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal and whether the U.S. is going to actually favor with the FTC to grant the injunction, or if they're going to deny it, which basically means the FTC has no case. And I think at that point it means that the FTC has to rule in favor of Microsoft being able to buy Activision Blizzard, or at the very least they can no longer try to stop it. Mm-hmm. And then it's just a matter of the UK. The UK still has their ruling, which I believe they'll still do within the next few weeks. So those are the 2 biggest Those are the two biggest hurdles for Microsoft. From what I've read, Microsoft is mostly waiting on this ruling here. If the UK doesn't deliver a ruling fast enough, they may just be able to close without that ruling, which I don't know what that means. I've read things like that just might mean that Activision is just not, those games are just not allowed in the UK. I've heard that Microsoft may have to split the Activision up so that way in the UK it's a completely separate entity. So it's going to be interesting to see. I believe the judge who was ruling on this decision has a court proceeding today for the next couple days. So we may not hear about it until possibly the end of this week at the earliest. So we'll see what happens with that. Like I said, unfortunately, the news is that there is no news. That's where we're at right now.
That there is no news.
Yeah.
That's one way to wrap it up here. But yeah, man, the gamers want to know what's happening, man. Microsoft versus Sony, fanboy versus fanboy. Sit your green and blue selves down and relax and play your games, okay? Now, that about does it here at GamerVice for us.
Yes, sir.
GamerVice, giving you all the vice you need when it comes to games, baby. Let's go. Kevin, say bye to the people. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to share the video with your friends and family. Okay? See ya.